try and get one. I think he will by the end of the game.
Okay. This like a Spectre Midas game? If low skill has like a good start, you don't think so?
I don't think he needs it. Nah.
Okay.
I think they're just going to keep running at them, to be honest. I mean, maybe that gives more of an argument towards wanting the Midas, just because that's how you get your farm and your scaling while going for kills. I'm going to say, I think it's 1, but just because it's this meta, I'm going to say 2.
Okay, alright. Yeah, very conservative approach there with 2. I'm going to say 4. I think there's going to be a lot of Midases here for the Bears, and Merlin's going to walk forward now. We get the disrupt going in on the Shushu. Carl is going to be able to get the hoof stomp, and with the sticky napalm stacked, Shushu unfortunately is going to be shooed back in the fountain. First blood for Mikey.
Right off the bat. And, yeah, I mean, this is the sort of start that you don't want to give. You know, if you're going to be moving around, got to be as a group against a team like Winter Bear. I mean, I know it's where Mikey came from, right? It's where he really stamped his name as one of the strong up-and-comers within the scene. I wonder if he might have just been caught placing the Observer Ward in mid lane, and it looks like Kachal will be fine on the bottom side. But yeah, I mean, this is a team that he's not exactly unfamiliar with. It's not like this is, you know, the best of what's left. These are a bunch of people that he's got a lot of history with.
Yeah, and I mean, especially if they're able to get pretty deep into these qualifiers, it's going to be, you know, that experience together is going to be invaluable. So, QJY unfortunately did have the Observer Ward denied directly in front of his face from Carchel. So
one of the downsides of playing this Tree and Protector, you're just so damn slow.
You're like, bonk.
Right. Yep.
That's why
bring back the craggy coat, make it even slower.
Oh, what a neutral item. Every time somebody says, you know, like a name of an old neutral item, I get very nostalgic. Craggy coat used to be my favorite. Centaur
not repair
kit, craggy coat. Oh, repair kit can die. They can stay forever dead. But
yeah,
some of the OGs bring them back. They do like a Renaissance tour. There you go, Ice Frog. That's an idea. All right. Carchel, they're going to try and get themselves a kill here onto the Tree and Protector. QJY trying to get in towards the tree. Last auto attack gets it done. Soul isn't able to help out because they only have 1 level, and that level is in the Time Walk.
I'm a little surprised that he committed pretty heavily there on the Tree and Protector, and most of the time against a Centaur, that's a really good idea. You have a look at Kachal and his stats. He's only got the 1 ring of protection, so someone like a Tree and Protector is going to do a lot against you, especially with that Leech Seed going on, but he just ended up tanking way too many of those creeps inside the lane, and that's what ended up taking out the majority of his HP.
And it was all too hard, so big start already here for the Winter Bears. And unfortunately for the Woofer fans, this is not the start that they wanted. They wanted to be the ones that were going nice and fast, right? Because they kind of need some of these lanes to work out for them, because at some point you need Shushu to kind of move around the map and make a bit of space for, you know, this Coddle to try and link up, maybe get a little bit of space for Dragon Soul a little bit later on. But if they don't have that that bit of space from the mid lane, like, I'm not quite sure what Kempo's able to do here on the Keeper of Light if he has nobody to link up with.
Classic Kempo. But, yeah, I'm really... The big thing that I'm just thinking is, like, both this Keeper of the Light and the Viper are 2 cores that absolutely hate people just getting on top of them, right? They're just complete food if they're in that sort of situation. And look at the cores that you're going up against. Spectre, instantly on top of you. You've got Stampede as well from Kachal. He's going to eventually get into a Blink Dagger. And Batrider, enough said, right? So it's really, like, the worst of both worlds that they've got coming through from every single one of these lanes.
Yeah, and it's not like there's really that much, there's not really like there's going to have that much kind of things in front of them to get on top of, like, this Viper and the Keeper of the Light. It's really mainly going to be Blade Moose, right? Like, it's going to be this clockwork to try and be that wall. And speaking of the Viper, Mikey's going to try and dive the tower. He has a lot of sticky napalm stacks, gets the extra kill before going down to the tower. So Blade Moose is going to be there for the experience. Won't really get much else out of it, though.
They'll take the XP. I mean, Clockwork is one of those supports that really does have a huge power spike early on if you can get some of those early levels. He's doing a good job as well to make sure the creeps don't go underneath the tower, keeping it nice and healthy for the Viper, just so that Shushu can come back and make sure that he is in a position where he feels happy enough that this is not going to happen again. I was thinking maybe Blade Moose might have just stuck in that lane. I mean, early on, Firefly has such a long cooldown that if he was able to get on top of him with that level 2 battery assault and the cogs, you might have actually been able to kill Mikey off the back of that TP in, but not the case. Mikey's going to be fine.
He's very, very fast. He's got the boost and the windlace as well, so he's got almost 400 move speed. So maybe just one sticky charge that Blade moves would have been like, no, I don't want to be a part of that. But that was a fair shout either way. Right now, just taking stock of the lane so far. Kachal's having a wonderful time in this bottom lane. 1-0-1 on the Centaur Wall Runner, or almost at the top of the last instance nice. Right now, though, Kempo, or Kemps, is doing a really, really good job. Kempy. Is having a very, very good time in this top lane. I mean, it is just Illuminate spam, right? So it's you know, it's not really going to be all too much. I think the biggest thing for Kempy is going to be what he's going to do once he gets this Urn of Shadows, right? What can he link together and see if he can try and make plays on the other sides of the map?
The big thing for mine is that I mean, I know that he's got. No, he's not really influencing low skills farm at all. That's the big thing for mine, right? You're just always going to be able to get farm. Yes, Coddle's getting it, but Spectre's getting it too. And I know you get a longish game. I know which hero I'm really wanting to be on the side of.
Yep, you're going to want
Trying to go on to Kempo.
They're going to have a lot of damage here, especially now with the Inkswell popping. More, they don't have any levels in the Desolate, so it is hard for them to try and get that extra bit of kill. Blade
a big Illuminate.
You're going to have a lot of damage going in on towards Nagato. They do have low skill inside of the cogs, so to be able to mitigate a lot of this battery assault damage. Low skill wants to try and go in, see if he can get the kill here. Kempo with the Fairy Fire is going to dissuade the Spectre for now.
Both sides really wanting that kill. They both freshly picked up an Urn of Shadows, so they're just wanting to make sure that they've got that extra little damage output, because this is really what the lane's going to turn into, right? Grimstroke, great at enabling a lot of these kills to happen, gives a stun to a lane that previously doesn't have it, and of course now with low skill level 4, just 2 levels away from that level 6, you want to be consistently being able to get active and make sure that those kills can happen.
Yeah, 100%. You can see both teams really standing that they almost had enough, or Nagato going to be stuck inside of the cogs. The Illuminate is going to be able to do slow skill those getting on top of Kemps, and do they have the damage? Looks like with a few more auto attacks, the Spectre can get it done. It goes down onto the low skill, but it will not matter. Getting 2 charges of his own here, so low skill feeling probably okay with that trade, but maybe not if QJY goes underneath the tower here. They come in with a blood grenade as well. Low skill's trying to go in and around the trees. They don't get the auto attacks. There's a lot of damage that goes there onto the tree. Protector, Stroke of Fate gets it done. Nagato will at least get the trade back in. But with low skill losing his life, that's not what you wanted if you are a Bears fan.
I love Bears. They are going to feel pretty happy with being able to take out the Spectre, of course, but you just have to have a look at the itemization that he's going for, right? Infuse Raindrops, he wants to get aggressive onto that Coddle. He's willing to dive into a full-on Illuminate Blast just to make sure that he's able to... The kills are going to keep up. Rotation down, though, coming through for boys, and, well, they might be able to just get away. Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, I just sent my attention towards the bottom side and I just saw a big juicy bash coming in there from Soul. So Faceless Void being able to get one back here onto the Centaur. So it hasn't just been all go-go gadget arms for the Winter Bears just yet. They are still being kept in check by the Woofer fans, who are doing a pretty good job at getting their own farm, right? You know, Mikey's been able to now go back and farm a lot of those stacks, getting very, very close to those boots of travel. But that just means that Shushu's able to kind of do his own stuff, right? Got now, band should be able to build in towards this 4 stuff early, it seems. Let's try and get a little bit of mobility against, you know, a lot of these heroes that want to try and get on top of you, which I don't mind. Don't hate to see. Would like
and he
to
was the one. He was the one to go back and get the Wisdom Rune as well. So he's got a surprisingly early level 6, a little bit earlier than what they've got on this top side, but I really don't think it's going to provide him any additional survivability if they do decide to just make that dive in onto him.
Exactly.
Chrono's up, though. They want to get another kill onto Kachal on this bottom side.
Yeah, Shushu's made their way down here. Nice little hoof stomp as well. Just gets to level 6 for the Stampede on Kachal. So with that level 6 being able to tick over, Shushu unfortunately makes not a connection on the rotation towards the bottom side.
Just means more space, right? Mikey continues to farm. He's got his bots coming out to him now. Starting to work towards that Blink Dagger, and importantly, gives Merlin a little bit of time in the mid lane as well, just to pick up a bit of his own farm. We know that level 6 is going to be just provide extra slow. Yeah, I mean, this is a team that I think is going to prioritize getting the Tormentor as soon as it hits that 20-minute mark, or pretty soon after, because this is an insanely good Demonic Cleanse game.
Very, very good. Also, the fact that the Tumbler's toy is still in the game is surprising to me, and unfortunately for Low Skill, got a lot of the supports directly on top of his dome right now. He's about half HP, has to go back through the Nature's guys. They will hit him with the rocket. Low Skill wants to try and juke and jive away. It seems like they will be able to get it done here with the dagger, but now they've brought Soul over here as well. There's a lot of members from both these two teams in the top side of this map. We will see the Cog knock back. Beautiful
nice
chronosphere once again from Soul to be able to catch out two members of the Bears. Merlin will be able to save his mid laner in the Batrider and continue with this Firefly, but it won't be enough damage. Double kill comes in for Kemps. So Kempy doing God's work so far with these Illuminates. It's a lot of damage for the Coddle, and it seems like it has been kicked up a notch here by the Woofer fans.
Yeah, for sure. That was an amazing chrono, catching both, making sure there wasn't that defensive disruption there to be able to provide that little bit of extra safety. And yeah, Kachal was caught on the bottom side of the map, so there was no way that he was going to be joining in onto that engagement either. So very, very nicely done by the Woofers, who have taken a little bit of a net worth lead.
Good job at just constantly putting a lot of pressure on a Low Skill. And speaking of pressure right now, Nagato, they stampede for that. Yeah, they get themselves a kill on the bottom side. So that was an offensive stampede for Mikey to get the kill there with the flaming lasso. So all's well that ends well here for the Winter Bears.
Very worth it, just to be able to keep the bigger scaling core on that team out of the equation, as it looks like it is going to be a poor Shadow Demon falling down. I mean, are you going to be able to get anything in return? Probably not.
Oh, I think Blade Moose unfortunately didn't get the same memo that the rest of the team did, was underneath the tower with the cogs. And Nagato's able to turn that around with Low Skill coming in with that Shadow Step. They have found QJY, but they don't want to open into the triangle. So the Winter Bears, they punch back. They get themselves a little bit of a counter punch this time around, and now they've pulled back a small network lead. In these next couple of minutes, going to be very the carries, right? You know, if Low Skill's able to continue to be a part of a lot of these fights, he can start to build that net worth, and much the same for Dragon Soul on the bottom side, right? Really want to try and make sure that they're not the aggressors of a lot of these pickoffs, right?
And I just love watching any comfortable player. Like, Mikey is clearly an incredibly comfortable Batrider player. Don't let the Bronze Dota Plus level fool you. Like, it just... He takes away so much of the space that the enemy team is trying to use to farm, right? He's not only taking the creeps in the lane, he's taking the creeps in the jungle as well. He's getting kills at the exact same time. This is a man that knows how to play Batrider.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the big thing that you highlighted, right? Is the fact that he's not only accelerating his own farm by being the the player with the highest CS in the game, but he's also putting a lot of pressure on these lanes as well, right? He's been involved in 4 kills so far, 4 out of his team 7, so... It's always good when you see a mid player that's able to not only accelerate their own farm, but also be active at the same time. So, it's going to be an interesting couple of minutes, especially with the blink daggers on the horizon. Mikey is incredibly close, especially after, I mean, imagine with these stacks, he's going to basically have it. And it looks like Kachal's going to be close to his as well, about 1,000 gold away. It's
the sign of a good team, right? Being able to make stacks, communicate when and where exactly to take them, make sure that there's no unused farm on the map, essentially.
All right, Blink Daggers at the ready. All right, Mikey, where is the first test going to be put towards the Woofer? Oh, and he gets an Invis rune as well. Oh, Mikey is absolutely licking his lips right now.
They do see him, though. He's underneath the one right now. And Shushu, well, he didn't step back fast enough. Might be able to get away.
They're going to be able to get at least the Demonic Purge going out there on the Shushu, so they will have enough damage. Unfortunately, Blade Moose is not really going to be a deterrent for them.
Just a Dragon Lance for now on Shushu. Working into a Bottle and then a Hurricane Pike. I think he needs a little bit more stats, right? You need to be that... You need to build up your tankiness first and foremost on Viper in my eyes. And I really don't feel like... He's even going a Blink Dagger as well on the Viper. Wow.
Oh, hookshot does miss there from Blade Moose, and unfortunately for QJY, they did get spotted by Mikey. They will get the overgrowth, but look at their magic damage. Dragon Soul's come up towards his top side, wants to go through the Twin Gate once again. They've got no real way of being able to cancel this channel.
Mikey's following. Oh, nah.
I was going to say, is he going to try and connect with Kachal on that bottom side? Maybe they're going to be able to get that extra kill, but you can just see this is what happens when these boots travel and Blink Dagger comes up for a Batrider, right? It is all go, go, go. And speaking of the Chronospheres, bottom side, they come in with Shushu, and that means that Kachal, unfortunately, you do not get to stick in this bottom lane. He was ever so close, that Blink Dagger as well, Matt. About 100 gold.
Yep. Pushes him a little bit further away. Never feels all too good. I'm a little surprised at how far behind Low Skill is in terms of the farm that he's got right now. He's going into the Radiance next, but This Urn and Blade Mail combination really hasn't paid off in the fashion that I'm sure he was assuming that it would. I mean, they've got a lot of unavoidable damage right now on Woofer fans, right? You've got the Illuminate, you've got the Battery Assault, you've got, once you start to build up a bunch of those poison stacks as well, popping Blade Mail feels amazing, but for now it just feels like he hasn't been able to get the full usage out of it.
Yeah, it really feels like they haven't been able to kind of connect a lot of these, kind of like 3v3 fights, right, where they're able to really bring in a Spectre and her to be able to utilize the items that she has. It feels like it has kind of slowed down a little bit. It's mainly just kind of been Mikey who's been kind of putting the tempo on the map. And with him going back and farming a few more of these stacks now.
It's true.
Nice little stampede, though. They want to see if they can try and get the turn back around here onto the Viper. Does get Demonic purged up. Now will come in with the disruption. Mikey's come in, blinks in, gets the Flaming Lasso. And unfortunately for the Viper, you get caught out by 4 members of the side of the Winter Bears.
Yeah, and they know that they're in no real danger of any sort of retaliation, right? The Chronosphere was just used. You're not going to be able to use that to be able to set up for a Keeper of the Light to be able to come in. They did use a bunch of ultimates to be able to make that happen, though, so if they aren't able to secure this tower, this would be a pretty big deal. We can see TP's coming in from Blade Moose already. He's got the hook shot at the ready. Doesn't seem like he wants to go in just yet.
Do they have the damage to kill some of these heroes? Kachal right now is extremely tanky. Almost 2,000 HP.
Nagato placed that one down. He knows exactly who's coming into this lane, and they make sure they get a retreat as a result.
Oh yeah, that's a big ward in the background here, as you did point out. So it is full retreat mode now for the Winter's Bears. They want to try and put their emphasis towards this mid lane. They've got 2 smokes up coming in here as well from Kachal as well as Nagato. They do have the Blink Dagger on the Centaur, so if anybody shows their face here, it looks like QJY may be the unfortunate recipient of a hoof stomp.
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear the Inkswell?
A little bit early.
Hasn't popped it just yet. They've got a nice little ward up here on the high ground as well to try and find where this Treant Protector is going to be.
They might assume that they've got a ward there just because of how aggressively Merlin is positioning himself.
Also, it does seem like right now that the Woofer fans are doing a good job at just kind of mitigating a lot of the aggression that's coming in from the Winter Bears, just really being able to put themselves in good positions. Dragon Soul's up on the top side of the map now, getting his own farm on this Faceless Void. Hookshot goes in though. Blade Moose. Shushu will blink towards the right-hand side. Nice little disruption there to buy a little bit more of this extra time. They're going to come in towards the backside.
Nice
They're going to get directly here onto the Viper. They come in with the double lasso and the double shadow step. That's too much damage. And the Winter Bears will be able to say thank you once again to the Woofers for 3 extra kills.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Dragon Soul didn't come into that. I know he didn't have the Maelstrom quite yet completed. It's coming out on the courier right now, but that's a situation where you had the vision on the high ground, you had them all clumped up in this really close proximity, and you had a Keeper of the Light who was ready there to be able to launch out the huge Illuminator to potentially turn that one around, but just wasn't quite there. A little bit of miscommunication, and it ends up resulting in a big team fight win from the Winter Bears.
Yeah, that was, as soon as you have that Grimstroke ulti and the Soulbind as well as the double Flaming Lasso, it is a dirty, dirty combination. And Spectre being able to join from anywhere on the map as well. They will at least try and get themselves something else with a smoke from the side of the Woofer fans. It is Merlin though. They would like to try and get something a little bit more juicy. They do come in with a 4-star. They will at least buy a bit more time with this disruption.
Nice.
Overgrowth. Okay, does catch out Kachal, but he's going to be able to TP away here. There's no way of stopping that TP, and unfortunately for Nagato, this means that Soul is going to be able to easily connect onto the Grimstroke. And with Kemps there as well, they get the extra kill. So double kill now for the Woofer fans. They at least respond in kind without any of these big ultimates at the ready.
Mm-hmm. And Loskill's able to get out. I mean, if everyone's committing onto that bottom side of the map, top is an incredibly safe place to be. Can always look to join in if he needs to with that Haunt.
Ooh, that's a spicy little shadow step going in directly into the Nether Toxin. Unfortunately for Loskill, that was probably not the ending of that gank that he would have liked. They do at least get the kill on a Shushu, but getting the kill on the Spectre is massive for the Woofer fans.
Yeah, definitely not worth that one. I mean, we've been mentioning how important it is to be able to take out this Viper. Haven't really seen too much of a benefit come out of this Blink Dagger right now. I know what he's thinking. He just wants to be able to reposition, rely on his quick reaction speed whenever there is like an initiation coming through from the Centaur or the Bat Rider, whoever it may be. But right now it feels like just 2,000 dead net worth that he's holding on to right now.
Yeah, the Coddles also picked up their own Blink Dagger as well, so it seems like the idea is kind of on a similar vein, right? Just hoping they can try and react to some of these initiations and then kind of just put a little bit of a combo breaker in where it's just like, oh, you're expecting like a Blink Hoof Stomp and an Inkswell to be able to set up a fight for you, and maybe somebody like low skill, you come in really, really fast with a Shadow Step, right? Like you've already instantly Shadow Stepped in and they've already blinked away, and then you don't have much of your cooldowns left and you kind of have to fall back, so... Multiple Blink Daggers, we'll see if they do work out. Unfortunately for QJY, they have been found out here in the trees. There's a Sentry Ward on the top side for the Winter Bears. So they catch out the Tree Protector. They're looking to try and find Dragon Soul here. Goes directly on top of the Faceless Void. Gets him done with the Inkswell. And now with the Flaming Lasso, they're going to be able to combine it with a Hoof Stomp and get the kill. So low skill double kill now for the Spectre. And finally, they're able to take down this T1 tower.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing that I was just about to commend Woofer fans on, right? Is the fact that they've been able to hold on to all of these Tier 1 towers. Yes, they're playing with a Treant Protector. I mixed out the Living Armor, sure, but still, it's almost 20 minutes in, and they were still able to be at this point. But yeah, eventually, if you just give out one too many kills on that Treant Protector, that tower is eventually going to go down.
Yep. They did jam their heads into it a couple of times, and they at least get a response here for Woofer fans, right? They push out these creep waves, and Mikey is double Blink Dagger, or maybe if that hookshot hit, does have to use the Yule Scepter to try and keep himself safe for now. So Mikey does dodge a gank from the Woofer fans. If they'd picked up the Bat Rider there, that potentially could have started looking a little bit more damage, especially in the mid lane.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the mid lane, I mean, Tier 1 tower is getting pretty low for Winterbear to be able to play around with. Looks like Merlin wants to just deny it and make sure that they're not getting any excessive net worth coming through. And they want to make another kill happen. I really want to see them put a little bit more priority on towards this Tormentor on the Winterbear side.
Why does Blade Moose have an Atos?
Why not? Why not?
It gets health, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's nowhere near as good as it used to be with Clockwork being a universal hero, right? They basically made it like much more of an int oriented item, like maybe a Muerta support. As it looks like we're going to see another Tree Protector gank go pretty well for the Winterbear. Yep,
they get the kill there. They're also trying to convert on Kachal in the top side here. Nice little Lotus Orb. Will at least get the Viper Strike going back in on the Shushu, so it means that now that Low Skill's able to come in, get one kill, looks for the second on the Blade Moose, so you should have a disruption. Yes, they do. So they cancel that TP here in the top side of the map, and Low Skill will be able to get the second kill. It was Kachal turning around for the first one. So now with the Radiance online for Low Skill, this is where it all starts to accelerate for the side of the Winter Bears. They get these kills, they turn them into towers, and they turn this into more gold.
Mm-hmm. And that mid tower is looking pretty low right now, so I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a little bit of emphasis being put onto that one. That was the refreshed glyph as well being used to try and protect it for that little bit longer. So if they're able to do it, you know, get another quick pick off onto the Tree and Protector, Tier 2 towers suddenly become a little bit more in danger. You know, being able to take out that Tier 2 bottom, for example, really makes it so that Dragon Soul isn't able to play as easily down towards this bottom side of the map if he wants to.
It seems like Dragon Soul really has been kind of pressed towards the top side of this map, even though that a lot of these Tier 2 towers really have not been able to really be knocked on just yet. Mikey's going to try his best for a little bit of a tree hunting expedition once again. Wouldn't hate to see, you know, maybe an early gem coming in here for the side of the Winter Bears, right? Just kind of plonk it on Mikey, and then you can permanently hunt this Tree and Protector and really kind of close down the map. Does have a lot of gold, and he's going to get closer and closer to this Octarine Core. They do have a lot of members in this area.
And they should know that it's warded up there as well. He was walking a little bit too close for comfort there, underneath that high ground. Maybe as soon as you see, you know, someone TP up towards the top side, they looks like they just want a free kill onto Blade Moose, though.
Yeah, Blade Moose was on his own little expedition in the top side of the map. Didn't really need Kachal to be able to come up there, so this
really
may mean
protecting this ward. They don't want to give it up for free.
I mean, QJY should know that it's here, because last time this is where he did die, and he's going to walk around his own. They come in directly, double Chronosphere, and that is more than enough for them to be able to get the kill there. So getting
really
the kill
like
on
that play,
is massive.
I mean, you see those sorts of things not happen at the very highest level, right? Like, you don't get away from that. I mean, they needed to drop the Chronosphere on top of it as well. They're tipping him because, I don't know if it's like overlapping it with the Overgrowth or if it's actually good play. But, I mean, Mikey has Yule Scepter, so he would have been able to get away from that Overgrowth if he didn't end up popping it.
Yeah, exactly. It was much needed, and also being able to convert those kills as well is big for the Faceless Void. Being involved in these kills, you are hovering around the area is very, very important. You want to make sure that your Chronosphere is being used. I don't want to say like almost always off cooldown, but you know you don't want to be having it off cooldown for far too long if you're not farming as much as you would like to.
Yeah, and the ganking duo coming together, Nagato and Kachal. They would love a freebie, but I don't think you've got the damage to be able to take out a Faceless Void with just the two of you.
There's a lot of members in the area here as well. They're going to try it. Really Stomp, Inkswell, Shadow Step as well. They have at least the Phantom on top of the Faceless Void, so with the Rend, they do have the damage. So it looked a bit rough, but with Low Skill being able to come in, that was more than enough damage for them to be able to get it done. And Low Skill, speaking of, gets the second. They aren't able to find Chems. Oh, actually, scratch that. Kachal has been able to find them out. They don't have another way of getting Low Skill into the fray, so they will leave the Coddle alone.
Man, his BKB was about 3 seconds away on the Courier, so that gank came at the perfect time. I was really underestimating the damage that they were able to do with the Spectre joining in as well. Low Skill certainly picked up a lot of that farm after having not the greatest time in the laning stage.
Yeah, especially once the Radiance was picked up, right? I think as soon as I saw that he had the Radiance, he basically had like most of the Yasha done. So really has been able to accelerate at this point, and this is where it really starts to sweat for the Woofer fans, where the Spectre's starting to get out of control, Mikey's starting to get very, very tanky and hard to deal with in a lot of these fights, so it's like, who do you really help out in these fights? Do you help your supports? Are you able to, you know, keep your Faceless Void alive? There is a lot of issues that are going to start to arise very, very soon for the Woofer fans.
And even Merlin's got a crazy amount of farm as well, like 7.3k right now as this Shadow Demon. He's already got plenty of repositioning tools at his disposal, making sure that you're just never the one being caught by the initiation.
Speaking of initiation, Flaming Lasso comes in, but that's a beautiful hoof stomp in combination with the Inkswell. Kachal says, see you later. This Overgrowth is much more about trying to keep them at bay than anything else. That was a massive initiation there from the Winter Bears.
Really does feel like you're not going to be able to get too many kills happening your way on Woofer fans, does it? Unless the Faceless Void is there. Like, he needs to be the one to be able to lock people down, to enable Shushu to be able to get a lot of these right clicks off, to enable that Illuminate, to make sure that the Spirit Vessel is going off as well. And again, just the importance of Merlin playing here, right? Like, with these positioning I got for himself, means that he's always going to be able to be in a super safe spot. He was nowhere near the initial part of that initiation and made sure that he was there just to secure it, right, with a Demonic Purge after the fact.
100%. And, you know, it really is a kind of game of cat and mouse between both these two teams. But I think the biggest positive for the Winter Bears is their initiation is so much easier than what the Woofer fans are, right? You talked about the fact that you kind of need Dragon Soul for Woofer fans, but you have to try and hit a Chronosphere on multiple members for it to be even useful. And, you know, if Merlin's anywhere near it, then, you know, the disruption can save them. Whereas, you know, Hoof Stomp, Inkswell, Flaming Lasso, like there's just so much simpler ways of them catching people for the side of the Winter Bears.
And they still don't even have the Demonic Cleanse, right? I know I'm harping on about it a little bit, but it legitimately is an amazing shard this game for the Shadow Demon. You get rid of Overgrowth, you get rid of Leech Siege, you get rid of the Solar Bind, you get rid of the poison attacks, you get rid of the time dilation. It's a lot that you can remove just by having one simple thing and providing so much more survivability to a hero like the Spectre. And that is probably a big reason why they're saying, hey, we really need to try and pick this one up now if we can.
We'll see who gets it. Oh, it is Merlin. Speaking, you shall receive. That's the Dota adage here. So, Demonic Cleanse. I mean, the question is, how do they kill people? How do they kill Kachal, who now has a heart, 3.2k HP? Mikey has 2.7k HP. You know, the Spectre, 2.3, but she has Dispersion. Like, it's getting to the point where it's like, how do you actually kill a lot of these cores? Like, yeah, you might be able to catch some of the supports, but if you don't kill the cores, they will kill you.
And they did end up doing on Winter Bear what you asked them to. They got a gem, but they ended up giving it to Kachal. Completely understandable, right? He's got plenty of armor. He's got the Heart of Tarask as well. 3.3k HP to have to go through. And again, you've got the supports there to be able to back you up.
Yeah, I like it. I like seeing teams be able to pick up these early gems. Speaking of, Kachal gets directly on top of Blade Moose. And that is just a quick execution. I mean, the fact that the Spectre ulti is 40 seconds, like, it's just so simple. When you have these off-laners or these mid-laners, they're able to catch out heroes for you. And Low Skill's really abusing that. 12 and 2 and 8 on the Spectre, things are starting to look very, very dire for the side of Woofer fans.
They feel comfortable enough just leaving Low Skill mostly on his own on this bottom side. They're going for a smoke, potentially, of course, to be able to catch them on the left-hand side. But yeah, I think they want more. They want to go behind this Tier 1 tower, I feel. Try and just yoink another quick kill. Positioning by QJY. Making sure that he keeps that Tier 1 tower safe for as long as possible. But you're just losing more and more of your map. You've got to take a successful team fight. It's going to be on the back of Dragon Soul.
Yeah. See whether or not he wants to try and respond to this Tier 1 tower. Low Skill takes the Tier 2 bot, rotates towards his mid lane, and now you just see Woofer fans. They have to kind of walk away in defeat, right? They definitely do not want to try and fight in this Spectre. I don't think you're killing him twice.
Definitely not.
So the question is, what are they kind of, I guess, you know, you're waiting at the Aegis and then waiting on a few more of these items, right? Dragon Soul's going to have a Mjolnir at that time. Is Lincoln Sphere really going to be the answer? Like, it feels like there's a lot of issues, and I don't think there's going to be some very simple answers for Woofer fans, right?
No, definitely not. And, I mean, you even now have to deal with the Spectre illusions coming at you with the Radiance. So lanes are constantly pushing in. You basically know exactly where the Woofer fans are going to be boxed into farming. It's the top half of the map, and so you can take over much more of it.
I just watched that interaction between Kachal as well as Kemps in the top lane. They both blinked at each other, but they blinked like past each other. It was hilarious. It was like they both kind of like spooked each other, which was quite funny. It was a very funny interaction. And now it's just gotten to the point where, you know, it's 30 minutes in, you're 15k behind. It is all just about split pushing and just hoping that you try and get that magical Chronosphere, right? For Woofer fans, like, you're just trying to hold off to the point where, you know, they don't have all of this map control and the Aegis to try and at least push higher ground, because that has been kind of one shining light for the side of Woofer fans. Is it's going to be very, very hard for them to push higher ground if they don't get a pick. So as long as you stay alive for the side of Woofer fans, then I mean, maybe there is a hope for them to get a massive, you know, 3-man Chronosphere, and they can try and finish it off that way, right?
Yeah, I can certainly see that being the case. I'm really wanting to see, like, what... I don't think Treant Protector getting a 4-staff is going to be that big game changer, right? But again, you're a Treant Protector. You're not... Damage isn't going to be the biggest factor of yourself. So I do like the fact that Blade Moose, he's the one going for a little bit more of the damage route, right? He's going into that Aghanim Scepter, both for A, like you were saying, keeping the lanes pushed out, but B, it just provides so much more damage in a lot of these team fights, right? Just guaranteeing being able to get off 600 damage if you're placing the Rocket Flare correctly. A lot of that AoE damage coming from the Battery Assault as well. Feels quite nice.
Yeah, that could be you know, a big positive for them as well. So there definitely are some light over the horizon for the side of Woofer fans. They have to try and get there, though. They've got their own gem, which I really like, coming in here from QJY, to be able to try and find some safe spots for them. They're going to do their own Tormentor, and Tormy will gracefully give Blade Moose a shard, so the jetpack is ready and available.
Probably the best hero it could have gone to be honest, right? Like, who else was it going to go to after that? Viper? You're not really hitting any towers anytime soon, right? Like, that is eventually going to be something that he needs if they do end up being able to reverse this 14k net worth lead. But for now, probably not the biggest issue.
Yeah, probably would have been able to make a stand for Dragon Soul to have it, but the fact that Dragon Soul is like the second highest net worth, it was never going to happen. So. We'll have to wait and see. Right now, Merlin is trying to make their way towards an Aghanim Scepter. Another Blink Dagger potential for Nagato. What are we looking towards here for Kachal? Just kind of chilling. He's got 1,000 gold. Doesn't really need to do all too much.
Honestly, give me a second heart. I want a second heart on Kachal. Like, he's got the Aghanim Shard. He bought it recently, I believe. And so, you know, you just have to think of how many times you're going to be double-edging in a lot of these fights. 3.5 seconds, you get 15% extra strength every single time you use it. I mean, that is a beefy boy standing on the front lines that does a ton of damage.
That does sound incredibly pog to watch. So I would love to see it. Yeah, I'm definitely in double heart territory right now. We'll see. QJY almost got themselves caught out. That would have been a little spicy. They did at least not have the gem with them. So that's a big positive. So even if they did get caught out, they wouldn't have lost the gem. But now you can just see that the Winter Bears, they are kind of running into a bit of a roadblock where they haven't really been able to catch out any of these members just yet, and they are doing a very good job at just pushing out a lot of these lanes as well. Still a lot of these tier 2s up and available. We're going to be working towards an Ags here for Kemps. What do we got for Shushu? Or top side. QJY. TP's out.
All right. No detection.
Yep. Invisibility is invulnerability.
Even with the gem on Kemps as well, like, he ended up pathing past this. I mean, it's not exactly the most complicated spot anymore, but the one to the right of the tier 2 tower mid, it just, you don't instantly want to check it, right? Like, it's, oh, that's a pretty decent pick though. That is the gem. Speaking of,
as she said, Kemps goes down, double gem available now, and we will see a blink in from Merlin, be able to catch out Shushu. Unfortunately for Shushu, that force up will not go too far. Chronosphere in the background, but it's a Yule Scepter. No, BKB got popped by Dragon Soul. Now he's going to try and connect onto Nagato. He hasn't been able to connect onto the Grimstrokes just yet, and they lose their Treant Protector once again here. Nagato eventually will go down to Dragon Soul, but Dragon Soul is in such an awkward spot, cancels the TP. See you later. And that will mean the Winter Bears will be able to catch themselves a carry from the Woofer fans. It was a nice chrono, but not popping the BKB preemptively means that Mikey can get the Yule Scepter off, and that was all they needed in that team fight for the dub.
Yeah, Mikey's got the Scythe of Ice as well, so even more lockdown required. I wouldn't even be surprised if you went for something like a Wind Waker next, right? You know, I'm pretty sure you're never going to see BKB not popped with a Chronosphere ever again, but, I mean, just get the target that he's going on instead. Feels just fine.
Yeah, he had it queued up before he went for the Hex, so maybe they're just feeling like they're getting to the point where they need to be able to have that that instant catch onto the Faceless Void, so he can't get that BKB off. So
yep. Also, don't you just love, like, this is the impact of the shard on the Centaur that I was talking about. Every single time he hits a single double edge, not even double, he gets 500 extra HP just from having one heart. That's crazy.
Yeah, I can only imagine, you know, if they're actually tanky enough for them to survive multiple double edges, what it would be like. Maybe another HP record. Move over to Toronto, Tokyo. We've got a new
What did he get up to? Was it like 14k or something?
Yeah, I think it was like 14,000 HP.
Oh, they got the courier.
Was that all of it? It was most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kemp still has the money for the point booster, but with everything else dead, really doesn't matter for the next couple of minutes. Yeah. So, what? We've got BKB on low skill now. It's so hard, man. Like, every time I look across at these Winter Bear cores, I'm like, they can't kill them. They couldn't kill them 10 minutes ago, and they can't kill them now with, like, a BKB being up. You know, Mikey's absolutely monstrous. I swear he almost always has a shield rune as well. I don't know what this kid has been doing, but he's been farming shield runes for the past 20 minutes.
Hopefully that changes in the patch, by the way. It lasts way too long. It's like a full minute that you get with it.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't think shield rune should stay the way that it is. I think it's far too strong for what it does. But there's a lot of questions. So unfortunately, Matt, he's not going to be going for the second heart. He's going to get an overwhelming blink. So he's going to get a lot of strength.
Okay, that's fine actually.
But you know, he won't be going for any HP records. That's
as long as it's strength. That's all I care about. Oh my god, that Treant was so close. He ends up walking into it afterwards, but oof, scary.
That's spicy. Nice little try there from Kachal, though, to be able to see if they can find somebody in the trees. They knew that he was there, thanks to Nature's Guys, but we are just waiting to see what this next Roshan is going to bring us. They have gotten the information that it is up and available. Merlin's really close to their own Ags. This is such a hard game, man. Like, when you're going up against a team that has, like, a pos 4 that is this fat, it's such a hard game, man. Like, you always try and think, okay, what's a good way for us to try and get back into this game? Most of the time, it's killing supports early in a fight and then trying to transition that into a core kill who can't save them or, you know, help them out in the fight. But when a support is this strong and tanky and just scary, it's so hard to be able to convert those. They're looking for something.
Even just using the Spec Illusion to be able to push out the lane a little bit. There's a really good coordination coming through from Winter Bear right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the Woofer fans, they fell for the trap as well, right? You know, Shushu decided to throw in some spits at it, and QJY is absolutely obliterated. They're going to get directly on top of the Faceless Void as well. Unfortunately for the Dragon Soul, this is no want to fall, and Shushu gets caught out as well. No. You hate to see it for the Woofer fans. Do they have enough damage to take down the fight? But they do. That's a BKB TP to nowhere. And this is all needed for the Winter Bears to be able to finish this game off here, Matt. This is looking like a one game in the bin so far for the Winter Bears.
It does indeed. I mean, I was talking about wanting that scaling potential, right? Spectre, you scale plenty, right? With the dispersion, with just your insane damage output. Batrider, I'd probably say doesn't, but again, Mikey's built a lot of these items that enable him to, right? We saw the effectiveness of the Yule Scepter, we saw the effectiveness of the Scythe of Vice. It's a great counter to a lot of the heroes that they've got on Woofer fans, and I mean, Centaur, look at how amazingly he's scaling. He's going for blind blinks right now.
He wants to try and catch out QJY once again. Unfortunately, the Bloodthorn isn't going to be enough damage. That pop was very close to being able to take down the tree. It once again goes into the back line. It is a flaming lasso on the Chems. And unfortunately for the Blade Moose, there is not going to be enough HP to be able to survive against the damage that the Winter Bears have. And Mikey is just running over the top of them, and they are doing a lot of damage to these racks.
6.4k, by the way, on the Centaur. He's got 3 of those double-edged stacks. Scaling. This is what I'm talking about. As soon as it spires, loses 2,000 health. And, I mean, do they have any ways to address it with percent damage? Only the Spirit Vessel. And you've even got the Lotus Orb to get rid of that. You've got the Demonic Cleanse. Like, this is just a really well-crafted draft by Winterbear. And it feels like they've, passed the scary-ish first 10-15 minutes. They've executed it to perfection.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing for me, right? It just really does feel like that they got themselves a massive advantage coming out of the draft. They basically banned out all of the scary offlaners that love building these hearts kind of blade mails, and they're going to try and go for it again with their own Centaur, but they found out the Faceless Void. They've got too much damage. They've got too much lockdown. And that will be it, I'd imagine, for game number 1. We are just waiting for the Gs to be dropped. Look at the damage they do. They're going to try and farm them in the fountain. I thought that was illegal, but at this point it is not. And they are just doing whatever they would like. 38k here at 39 minutes. I wouldn't say this was a beatdown, though, man. I think the biggest thing for me was it kind of just got to the point where the drafts just didn't work out. They kind of just went on different paths, right? Where Woofer fans, they just didn't have that great early game to be able to get a lot of their pieces to work together, whereas for the side of the Winter Bears, they just kind of had to play the game as normal and things were going to fall into place.
Yeah, a lot of the early team fights actually were quite nice for Woofer fans, right? Surprisingly. And but I think it just comes down to that, right? The ease of execution. It just becomes so much easier. You don't have to rely on just one person to be able to get off a lot of their spells. You just see the various different ways that they can initiate, right? Once the Blink Daggers come up, everyone has a Blink Dagger with the exception of low skill, and of course, he could just Shadow Step in at any time that he wants. So it goes for 40 minutes, probably a little longer than I expected, to be honest, but Woofer fans, I'm hoping for their sake that the draft makes it a little bit more even in game number 2.